Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. How are you doing today? We've got the one, the only, and the legendary Matt, the mortgage guy. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, Mike. How you doing?
Hey, man, do me a favor, plug your YouTube channel because our conversation here is actually going to be based on a video that you put out yesterday. I watched this morning, and people need to be following you. What is that channel?
They should be following me, Matt the Mortgage Guy. Just type in Matt the Mortgage Guy. I've got to have 450 plus videos, and some of them are housing market, some of them are investment property things. A vast majority of them mortgage stuff, mortgage guidelines, things you need to know about a mortgage, how an escrow account works. And so I'd like to think there's a good library of information. When I talk to a client for the first time who found me on YouTube, more often than not, it's like, hey, it's great to finally talk to you. I've learned so much. And if you're thinking about buying something, or even if you have bought, you're buying investment properties, give yourself the gift of a little bit of knowledge around mortgage. It's going to help you. I promise. And if you type in Matt, the Mortgage Guy, and a specific thing, there's a chance that I have a video on it because there's 450 plus of different videos. So proud of some of that stuff. Some of the videos are old and crappy. Don't disregard those.
Hey, man, info's info. The other thing we should give you a shout out to is you've actually agreed to create content for my How to Get Started One Rental at a Time, kind of under the mortgage umbrella. It is such a wonderful feeling to know that you've created a course that other experts want to add to. So I just wanted to thank you publicly for creating and adding, and of course, add pressure to actually get it done.
Yeah, I've got the outline done, and really too, like as much as I do in mortgage, once I press record, I can talk about it. After doing thousands of mortgages, and so the outline's done. My idea is for this course and a future course that I plan on building as a standalone is just some insights where by taking this course and you're going to learn something that's going to save you tens of thousands of dollars. So whatever the price of the course is, if you're getting your first mortgage and a little bit of tips and tricks to help save you tens of thousands, it's probably worthwhile.
Yeah, there you go. And again, I'm just going to add your content for free. It's going to go right in the bonus section. So that's really cool. Oh, I didn't mean to digress, but we did. But now let's talk about the housing slowdown, because if you've been following my channel for any length of time, I've been calling for 2 million active listings by the end of July. What I've really meant in that is really what you talked about this morning, is we are going to see a slowdown in housing. What does a slowdown mean? It doesn't mean crash. It doesn't even mean price drops. It just means transactions slow down. Because if you actually look about what's going on in the housing market today, we are selling record number of homes. We talk about low inventory, all of this. We're actually on pace. Last time I checked, to do 7 million housing transactions this year. In a normal year is like 5.6. So we may not have an inventory problem. We have a demand problem. But what I think is going to happen over the summer is we are going to have a slowdown. So instead of stealing your thunder, I thought maybe you should summarize quickly what you put out, because I thought it was pretty much smack on. So let's talk about it.
For sure. Sure. And I think that like most any content I put out is just me saying, hey, here's what I'm hearing. By talking to dozens of real estate agents, I just, by default, I'm going to have a little bit of finger on the pulse, and I've gotten better at, and I've tried to hone in on like, what am I seeing more often than I usually do? And what does that mean? $80, $90, $100 fully pre-approved, ready to buy column. I'm going to take a break. We're going on vacation. I've got this and that planned. And so I'm probably buying this year, but not now. Right. And I've had other people that were referred by somebody, and I call them, hey, you want to get started an application and whatnot? Yeah, I'm going to do that, but not right now. I can't wait to go out and get on vacation. And so with that, I just start to think to myself, that's kind of the vibe and the mood I feel when I talk to friends and family.
Right.
That can impact the buyer pool, because like you said, when we got all this demand and we're looking at supply versus demand, calculation, in order to slow things down, we need supply to go up or demand to go down, or both.
Right.
And this is something that I genuinely think is being overlooked, where demand might wane a little bit. It wanes in the summer anyway. You know, people don't realize spring is the busiest time in real estate.
Mhm.
And I think what's happened over the last 15 months since COVID is that it's been so crazy busy that people think that there's no more seasonality left. And there actually is.
Yeah,
There still is some seasonality in the real estate market where the spring might be super hot. People are still buying in the summer, but it's not as much as it is in the spring. And if that's exacerbated by more people wanting to travel, by things opening up and people choosing to, because, you know, you follow consumer behavior. And I think that to a certain extent I do too, because I'm talking to them every single day. If consumer behavior is, listen, we've been locked down for 15 months. We're going to get out and do stuff. We want to buy a house, but it might take, you know, it might be a back burner for 3, 6, 12 months while we do this other stuff.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, the thing I've learned about consumers over the last 3 decades of studying them is they generally are predictable. So what's happened the last 6 months? We've all seen the headlines, multiple offers, bidding wars, waiving appraisals, inspections. And let's be clear, right? For every house that had 10 offers, there's 1 winner, but there's 9 losers. There's 9 people that got told no. And what's happening in an environment like this is you do that 2, 3, 4 times. It's less fun. It's like you're looking for a break. So I think you're right. The summer is a perfect reason. I mean, we are both in California, and this reopening and the masks and all of these things finally went away. And there's a lot of people that are like, you know what? I'm not going to look at any housing for a month. I'm going to go enjoy myself. I'm going to go to Disneyland. I'm going to go to the Grand Canyon. I'm going to go to Las Vegas or whatever it is. People are, I believe that is happening in tens of thousands of people have said, you know what? I am not going to look for a month. So what does that mean? That means demand comes in, but really what it means to my 2 million call is it means supply is going to tick up, because the only way supply comes off is with demand. And I think supply is going to tick up, and I think more supply begets more supply. And again, I don't think this means house pricing crash. Not at all. I just think it means a slowdown. And again, if we go from 7 million transactions to 6.2, it's still a great market. I just think we get more options. I think the perfect houses still go over asking. I do think investors get a shot, because what happens when there's nothing there and everything's fast is owner occs usually can pay the most, because investors have a return they have to get. And I think investors are going to get their chance. And I think real estate slows down, but it's a slowdown in transactions, not really a slowdown in price, if you will. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. And it's welcome.
Exactly.
And I feel like I'm talking it into the universe because I want to see it. I've just
Slow
dealt with
down.
people who are frustrated. And it's interesting too. I like your take on the demand problem, because you're right. If we had a normal amount of demand, if we did 5.6 million, would there be 20 offers on every house? No. Would there be, things going 100K above ask, or would it only be 30? I mean, it would be a lot more tame market. So, so people get it clear, because I know what Mike is saying and I know what I'm saying. Going 90 miles an hour on the freeway and taking your foot off the gas to where you coast and you're doing 70 is still going 70. So don't expect a red hot sale where you're going to get 30% off next year. But if things on the demand side slow down a little bit and you've only got to compete against 3 offers, it's going to be a good thing for buyers. And maybe I think, I did a video where people are always trying to pin you to, like, what's your exact guesstimate for home price? If you have to pin me down and have me give a 2022 and a 2023 projection, maybe 2022 only sees 5 or 6% home price appreciation, and then 2023 sees 2 or 3%, which is relatively flat. The slowdown and the flattening is by no means anywhere near correction. And the funniest thing about it, Mike, is I hear it so often, and I just think to myself, I want to tell people, do you realize how dumb that sounds coming out of your mouth when you say the house is due for a correction?
Yeah. What?
What does due mean? What does due for a correction mean?
Everybody wants it to be last time when houses go on sale for 50%.
Which really, that's the only time in history. I looked at it for fun the other day. From 1900 to 2021, this is the only time that we've ever seen a correction anywhere close to that. It
Yeah.
happened one time in the last 120 years, and you're going to bank on that.
Recency
Sell your house.
bias.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, I think you're right. I think what I'm telling people is we had 15% in 2020. We'll have 7 in 21, 3 or 4 in 22, and like 1 or 2. And because again, when you blow up a balloon, it doesn't have to pop. You can actually let the air out this way. Right. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think that's what's happening in the mortgage market. We talked about that earlier, right? They're just getting tighter. You had a real life example of somebody who got a yes answer and then a no answer. I think that's just happening. I think we're just going to go in for a natural slowdown. But let's realize if a lot of people pull off and they celebrate at Disneyland, Grand Canyon, and the Vegas, which I think were my examples, they'll be back. They'll be back in August. They'll be back in September. So realize if you really are hungry to buy something, these next 4 or 5 weeks might be the time to see if you can sneak a deal in, because a lot of people are on summer vacation.
Yep. Keep looking at your markets, keep watching it, because when I ask for comments and I'm like, YouTube live doing Q&A, people are like, I notice, 15 days on market, 22 days on market, some stuff that I feel like all you got to do is if you're in the game, be in the game.
Yeah. Do the work, all that. So, hey buddy, thanks again for doing this on Friday with me. Congratulations. And oh, by the way, it's Father's Day on Sunday. Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day back at you, buddy.
Thank you, buddy.
All right. Thanks, Mike.